Hello, everybody. Welcome to Movie News Tuesday. The show did not come out on Monday this week because I am currently on vacation, and that is why everything has been late lately. However, the show must go on because the movie news keeps going on. So let's get into the movie news. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm, of course, your host, Dylan Strickland, and let's get started. Last Monday, like I said, Sunday night, it was announced that AT&T is in the works to sell Warner Media to Discovery. They, in fact, have now closed the deal. AT&T is going to be selling Warner Media to Discovery for $43 billion. This is a complete loss on investment. They originally bought Warner Media 4 or 5 years ago for $85 million. And now they're selling it for $43 million because AT&T seems to want to leave the media genre entirely. They don't want anything to do with it. They previously sold DirecTV for $16 billion a little while back. So it seems that they no longer have any interest in owning any type of media content or distributing any media content whatsoever. Of course, this probably won't go into effect until mid-2022 just because it has to be approved by the regulators. However, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. It kind of seems like HBO Max and Discovery are going to become kind of one thing now. Discovery is saying that they're going to make it their own company. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. If you want my personal opinion, I think this is because of the complete failure in communication when Warner Media decided to put everything out on HBO Max day and date release. And I think that AT&T has seen how that kind of failure has affected their business in the media genre. They've apparently stated to lost almost $1 billion in box office revenue. I think this is terrible news for them, and so they've just decided it's not worth the hassle anymore. We want to go in a different direction. That report was, of course, brought to you by Variety and an AT&T spokesperson, so that is for sure happening. Also on Monday, the early reviews for Fast 9 have come out. It currently has a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb. This isn't really shocking. I mean, Fast and Furious movies aren't really critic bait or Oscar worthy, but I'm still excited to see it just because they are so ridiculous. That's kind of why I like watching those movies, is because they're extremely outlandish. So we'll see on June 25th when it comes out. A lot of companies seem to be selling their studios lately, as it has been announced that Amazon is poised to buy MGM, the brand that owns James Bond, Creed, Rocky, and the Hobbit trilogy. They're going to be buying MGM for $7 to $10 billion. The number hasn't really been announced yet. It's somewhere in that range. I'm guessing it's for more library content on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime currently has around 200 million to 150 million subs. I think this deal will get approved by the regulators as well. And I can't wait to see what Amazon has in store for us. That report was brought to you by Variety. A little miscommunication on the release of Dune. Deadline reported that it was going to be released only in theatrical, no day-and-date release with HBO Max. And then the head of communications at Warner Media Studios and Network Group announced on her Twitter that yes, in fact, it will be going straight to HBO Max the same day that it comes out in theaters. I don't know what's going on there. Deadline acted like they kind of had an exclusive, and then the Warner Media shot it down instantly. So we should probably listen to Warner Media over Deadline. But it's interesting to see that Deadline is getting sources that Dune will be theatrical only. I kind of hope it is, because I just don't think you can create a franchise out of a movie that comes out on streaming as well. But we'll see what happens. Also coming from Deadline, Joe Cornish and John Boyega are teaming up again to create an Attack the Block sequel. John Boyega is set to produce this time, as well as Joe Cornish, and Joe Cornish will be returning to write and direct. John Boyega is likely to star in that again. I cannot wait to see this movie. I've never seen Attack the Block, the original actually, but I read the premise while I was kind of going through that Deadline article. Let me tell you what, it sounds like something I would really enjoy. Extraterrestrials coming down and John Boyega having to fight them. Doesn't sound like a bad time, so a sequel sounds like it might be right up my alley too, and I'll have to check out the first one here. It's been added to my watch list. On Tuesday, a Dear Evan Hansen trailer was released. This is an adaptation of the Broadway play, of course, and it seems there's not going to be as much singing as there was, but there will be some singing. I thought the trailer looked really good, actually, but my one issue is that I think it showed a little bit too much. I kind of felt like I was watching the whole movie. Felt like I was watching a summary of everything that happens in the film. I am excited to see it though. Ben Platt does look really young. They were able to make him look like a little kid again. So we'll see what happens. The trailer did appeal to me though. Also on Tuesday, Oscar winner Emerald Fennell, who wrote Promising Young Women, she just recently won the Oscar, of course, for Best Screenplay, is set to write Nemesis, a comic book movie where the general premise is, what if Batman was the Joker? So he's still part of a rich family, except he's kind of loose in the head a little bit. It sounds really cool. I didn't love Promising Young Woman. I thought it was good, but the trailers kind of made it seem like it was something other than what I watched to me, so maybe I need to rewatch it and give it another shot. But I am excited to see this just because, well, she is an Oscar winner. Emerald Fennell is also currently tapped right now to write the Zatanna movie for DC, so she is going to be working in the superhero vein quite a bit. That report was, of course, brought to you by MovieWeb, and we'll see what happens. A new report from CinemaBlend says that Aquaman 2 is set to start production in 6 weeks. James Wan is, of course, returning to direct. And The Conjuring 2 and Conjuring the Devil Made Me Do It writer, bear with me here, this name is a mouthful, David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. Sorry if I butchered all 4 of your names, I apologize. That report is coming to you from CinemaBlend. I could not be more excited, to be honest. I did like Aquaman quite a bit. I thought it had this kind of goofy, corny charm, and I really kind of enjoyed that. So I'm excited that they're starting production. Of course, that movie is set to come out December 16th, 2022, so we will have to wait a little bit, but I think it'll be well worth it. 3 pieces of big animation film news this week, and our first being that on Tuesday, it was announced that they're going to be doing an Injustice Gods Among Us animated film. DC has been doing this with their more popular comic runs, turning them into movies overall. It's unclear right now if they're going to be making the animated film based on the prequel comics to the game, or if they're going to do an adaptation of the game, or if they're going to be doing any adaptation of any of those things. It might be just a completely different story. No word on a release date yet either, so it's likely to come out next year. They've kind of been doing yearly releases with their animated movies, so we'll see what happens. That report was, of course, brought to you by Screen Rant. Staying in that animation vein and moving into Wednesday, it was announced that J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves have been given a straight-to-series order for a new Batman animated series titled Batman: The Caped Crusader. It's being billed as a kind of fresh take on the Batman mythology. I'm excited for this. Clearly Matt Reeves likes messing with Batman because he's going to be directing the Batman, and J.J. Abrams is kind of working on his own DC universe. It kind of seems like, especially with the new Superman movie coming out, that he will be involved in some way. And speaking of Superman, in that same report from The Hollywood Reporter, they announced that they're also going to be doing a Superman animated series. It's a little more kid-oriented. It's going to be focusing on Lois and Superman and Jimmy Olsen and kind of their early stages, kind of readapting to the Daily Planet. I'm not as interested in that one as the Batman series, just because the Batman series is apparently going to be kind of more like the animated Batman show from the 90s, and I really, really like the Batman animated series. So I'm more interested in the Batman one, even though I'm a huge Superman fan. We'll see what happens. On Wednesday, it was announced that the Addams Family Netflix series titled, fittingly, Wednesday, is going to be starring Jenny Ortega, the star of Netflix's You. This is going to be an 8-part series, and I'm kind of excited to see it. I'm not really a big Addams Family person, but the cast that they're picking all sound really talented, and that might be enough to push me into watching it. This report was, of course, brought to you by Variety. The Batgirl movie that is supposed to be released exclusively on HBO Max has received its directors in the form of the Bad Boys for Life directors Adil E. Arbi and Bilal Fallah. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name wrong. The movie is planned, like I said, to only be an HBO Max release, and it's going to be centered on Barbara Gordon, which I think is a good choice. Not many people know the other Batgirl. I'm not really too excited. I like the directors. I thought they did a great job with Bad Boys for Life, but Batgirl overall just kind of seems to me. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm, of course, going to watch it because it's a superhero movie. That report was, of course, brought to you by The Hollywood Reporter. On Thursday, it was announced, I guess, because it's news from a year ago, but Dave Filoni has been promoted to the chief creative director at Lucasfilm. It's not really that big of a deal, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's nice to see that Dave's getting more headroom at Lucasfilm. I don't know. I mean, this is good news. I was expecting it to be Jon Favreau. I don't know why. just because I feel like he's a little more hands-on with Star Wars stuff, and I kind of like his Star Wars stuff a lot more than Dave so far. That being only The Mandalorian, so maybe that's a little biased. But this doesn't really feel like news since it happened quietly a year ago, and we've gotten a bunch of Star Wars content since then that it's not like it's been lackluster or anything. So it's not really that big of a deal. It's not really news. I mean, it is kind of news because we just found out about it, but it's not like news, if you know what I'm saying. However, in that same report, it was announced that Rangers of the New Republic is no longer in active development. This is, of course, what I'm assuming due to the fact that Gina Carano is no longer involved. Whether or not you agree with that decision doesn't matter. She isn't. So it makes sense that her show, or her what appeared to be her show, is canceled. I'm kind of bummed it's less Star Wars content, but I also completely understand, like, if you don't have someone to star in the show, Cara Dune isn't there, then why would you make a show about Cara Dune? So it's a bummer, but it's not that big of a bummer. There's a lot of Star Wars content to come, and it might be overcrowded anyway, so they needed to drop one. On Friday, Deadline announced that Dwayne Johnson is going to be voicing Crypto the Superdog in a new DC animated film titled DC League of Super Pets. Johnson, of course, is going to be playing Black Adam, and he is also set to produce this movie. This movie has been in the works for a while. It already had the release date of May 20th, 2022, but Johnson's involvement and Johnson's production team's involvement is a new thing. Great news, as Henry Cavill has been tapped to be in the new Highlander movie that was previously going to star Ryan Reynolds and has been in development for 5 years, but now there's actual development on it. Henry Cavill is going to be in it. It's unknown whether he's going to be playing one of the characters from the original movies or if he's going to be playing a completely new one and it's going to be a fresh adaptation. But it's Henry Cavill, and I love Henry Cavill more than anything on this planet, to be honest. He's the greatest Superman we've ever had and one of the better actors, you know, and it's just an honor to be breathing this air that he has, like, around us. This next topic, this is a bit of a trigger warning. This is sensitive stuff. So Kevin Spacey has booked his first role in 4 years following his 20 sexual assault allegations. He's going to be in an Italian film called The Man Who Drew God, directed by Franco Nero. I'm kind of uncomfy about this. I don't really know how to feel. I mean, to be fair, he hasn't been convicted of anything. He's had 20 allegations, a couple of the cases have been dropped, but it's always due to, like, you know, statute of limitations running out, or like them just dropping the cases, or even like 4 of them have just mysteriously died. But he hasn't been convicted of anything, so innocent until proven guilty, but 20 allegations is kind of, maybe if it was like all of them were like, no, this is a setup completely, but 20 allegations? I don't know. I just feel a little bit uncomfy about him being hired, but I don't think I'm going to see the movie just because it makes me a little iffy in the stomach. But we'll see what happens. And finally, since this is being filmed on Tuesday, I'm going to report on Monday's news. That would be yesterday to me. I don't know when the video is going to come out, but yesterday, a new Eternals trailer dropped. And I thought it was just okay at first. And then I watched it again and liked it a little bit more. And now I'm all the way to it's a good trailer. And I don't know if I'll get more than that. I really like the banter at the end. I like that they're kind of setting up like that this is eons like story. This story has been around they've been around forever. But it's also like they just watched everything happen with Iron Man and all them. So it's going to be interesting to see what the story is as to why they've been in hiding so long. But the cast looks great. Kumail Nanjiani looks, beautiful. So yeah, I'm excited to see this in November when it comes out. Nothing crazy. It was just one teaser. The poster looks pretty cool. Yeah, we'll see what happens. And this weird piece of news, Timothée Chalamet is going to be playing Willy Wonka in a new adaptation of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It is going to be set before that, though. It seems to be focusing on a younger Willy Wonka. Paul King is set to direct, and he's going to be writing alongside Simon Farnaby. This is good news. I like Timothy. I think he's a decent actor, and, I like one of the Willy Wonka movies. I won't tell you which. Keep up the suspense. That report was brought to you by Deadline. And that is going to do it for Movie News Tuesday/Monday. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and subscribe. It really, really helps me out. I've, of course, got my Bad Batch weekly series going on, and I will be back next week for another maybe new Movie News Tuesday, just depending on how vacation goes. Hopefully it'll be on Monday, but we'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.